It's time for me to make another binge watch session of a Netflix series that, honestly, to be honest, I watched this series a long time ago, but with the new season that came out a couple of weeks ago, I thought that it is a good idea to watch all the previous seasons again before I go for the newer season. And what Netflix series I'm talking about? Well, it's none other than the one that is based on a video game that has one popular video game character. The franchise the series that I'm talking about is none other than Skylanders Academy. Which the only reason I went to see this series is because it has this character, Spyro the Dragon. I am a big fan of Spyro the Dragon. I actually love dragons altogether. I mean, seriously, if I could marry one, I would. And Spyro is Spyro. I will admit something, and probably people will gonna hate me for this, but I'm not a fan of the original Spyro the Dragon. I know that many people are so up into arms into this character, but mostly on the original version. I mean, seriously, I see many people are so up to wanting to watch to play the Reignited trilogy because original Spyro. Yeah, I like it, but it's not my cup of tea. I'm actually more on the second generation of Spyro, which is the Legend of Spyro series, which I'm not gonna go exactly into details. If you're Since we're talking about Skylanders, which is based on this trendy thing that it became kind of like the prototype of the amiibos, I will say that I'm not exactly 100% angry with the idea. I like the idea, but the only thing that kind of pissed me off of the Skylanders is how secondary they're treating Spyro the Dragon and some of the aspects that I do like. I mean, granted, they keep some of the good stuff from both older series. And of course, we got also the villain. The villain is actually one of the best parts of the Skylanders. Did I play the game? No. I didn't play it. I just saw it. I don't have myself time to play them. So I think I always knew that eventually it's gonna turn out into a TV series, or in this case, a Netflix series called Skylanders Academy, which is kind of like their own spin-off to separate from the video game storylines. Well, in one part, they do get Spyro. Spyro is kind of like the main character, and best of all, they do have the main villain named Chaos in there. And gladly, they also got the perfect guy to voice him, which is none other than Richard Horvitz, the guy who also play Invader Sim. I'm just kind of dragging along about this. So the point of this thing is that I'm gonna talk about all the episodes of the first season on this video, and I'll give them a short kind of like a short summary and a small review of what do I think about this, about each episode, what I like, what I don't like, and well, let's get on with it. This is my season 1 review of Skylanders Academy. The first episode is actually an introduction episode, and like some other... One of the biggest differences from the first episode from the rest of the episodes is that this one is 43 minutes long. And it serves kind of like an introduction to the series, and probably for the people who are not aware about the Skylanders world, both in the video game and into the series. And it does a decent job. It presents all some of the characters that we're gonna know about the world that it lives in, and it goes a little bit into the basic story that that we got. We got the plucky hero. Well, plucky, I will say, quote unquote, who kind of entered the ranks of the main cast, and we also present the villain. So in order to present this episode, actually the world of Skylanders Academy is that the world is kind of like ground level on the sky. We don't know what the hell is on the ground because everything is in the sky because they're called Skylanders, and the series takes place in an academy known as Skylanders, which are technically kind of elite creatures who join the academy. They become soldiers in order to protect their world from evil, and we get to see our main character, which is none other than Spyro, and believe it or not, he's voiced by Justin Long. And when people hear Justin Long, he's like, oh dear. And not this time. He's doing a decent job. For those who doesn't know, Justin Long, he's the guy who plays the guy who turns into a walrus in Tusk. He was the guy who gets killed in the first movie. What was it? Jeepers Creepers. And unfortunately, he was also Alvin and the Chipmunks. I think that it is. Okay, so continuing on, one of the biggest aspects that many people always raise their eyebrows on the treatment of Spyro in Skylanders world is that, let's say that many people are not very keen on his design compared to both the original and the Legend one. I thought it's okay in my opinion. It's not great, but it's okay. But the personality on this one is something that you have to get used to it, because in this one, Spyro comes off like a very egomaniac guy. He's the typical, let's say that I'm too cool, I'm so great as being a hero. He's a very narcissistic jerk. And in a way, you're gonna love him or you're gonna hate him. I am kind of like in both ways because it's a different kind of Spyro. I mean, the original Spyro can be also a little bit of a jerk, but this is why I kind of more like the Legends one because he's more heroic and more humble. This one is kind of like they kind of push it on the jerky level of the original one. Continuing on, we see how he was born, he was adopted by the headmaster of the Skylanders, which is this bearded guy named Aeon. He makes friends with this ninja elf called Stealth Elf and this living volcano guy named Eruptor. And well, the story takes place that, at least in this episode, is that Spyro and his friends, they are now they're very close to become official Skylanders. They have to take a final test from the academy, and well, Spyro cockiness, he gets away with him. He thinks that he's gonna pass, but he does. But long story short, he doesn't. He just goes around partying, thinking that he is kind of very, very special. He's not humble. He fails the test. He doesn't become a Skylander along with his friends. And in the graduation ceremony, Master Eon, he is supposed to record all the people who pass on this book called the Book of Skylander. And we got our villain, Chaos, which is this miniature wizard, bald wizard that, because it's been Richard Horvitz, he sounds like Sim. He wants to destroy the Skylands because he is very proud of being evil. He gets the book, and well, apparently everything what you do in the book, it gives damage to anyone who is written on the book. So kind of a little bit like a PG-13 version of a Death Note. I mean, he even freezes the book, and then everyone is frozen. And well, it is up to Spyro, who wasn't in the book, to save everyone from chaos. And there, you get a little bit of the basics of what it is. And yeah, it shows about you have to be a little bit more humble. You have to be, you don't have to mope about losing anything. And that it is important to respect your friends. Yeah, typical like that. And long story short, Spyro saves the day. Chaos gets away, but he memorizes a map that they found in a relic room, which leads him to apparently something better than a book that is kind of a little bit of an equivalent to a Death Note. Which is none other than a map to the core of light, which apparently is where light and darkness combines. There's the source of light, and if it's destroyed, it could destroy the world. And yeah, and Spyro becomes a Skylander. Now that we got our 43-minute introduction of Skylanders Academy, now we get a little bit of more 20 minutes episodes. And the second episode is kind of like an extra bonus of a little bit more introduction to what we're gonna get in this series. Although in this one, the episode technically took Spyro a little bit more secondary, but it focused on a character that appeared in the previous episode, but now decided to become a new main character in this one. And that character is none other than Jetpack, an eagle with no wings that he uses some kind of vacuum gun, and has a little bit that running gag that every time he gets very scared or something like that, he poops out eggs. Despite him being male. Yeah. Yeah. But the episode mostly is centered is that Jetpack is technically the oldest member of the group. He is a very seasoned fighter, but because he's old, he's technically old-fashioned and very tied to the rules and all this stuff. Which, in this case, his old-fashioned way, he clashes with Spyro's brashness and in this episode he butts heads with him, and he's angry that Spyro, you have to analyze things, you have to make a plan, but Spyro is like, no, you don't have to think about it, you just go with it. So Jetpack decides to go to live with our main cast, in which they live in this shack. I forgot to mention that. He goes there to live there in order to correct Spyro from his reckless personality. But unfortunately, it kind of shows that Jetpack's overanalyzing things and not going through instincts. It leads to procrastination or delays, and it even delays some. How can I say? In the episode, they just go into these cars named. You know what? I kind of forgot about it. They go into the cars, and instead of going to their destination, he just say, no, we have to read all the instructions so we can go through it. And when they get there, other people had already done with their mission. But taking consideration that it is that they needed to pad out more shenanigans, we also have to see the chaos side, which is kind of like the B plot of the series. In the B plot is that we find out that chaos lair is actually he's living in his mother's basement. The mother named Cassandra, and oh yeah, I also forgot to tell you that Chaos is always follow, quote unquote, and he has his sidekick, which is this troll named Glumshanks, who Chaos has always the tendency and delight to always torment him, torture him, and Glumshanks is technically one of the best part of the show because he's always sarcastic and he's like, that was actually one of the best part of this show. But well, the B plot in this episode is that Cassandra wants Chaos out of the house, at least for a while. She takes Glumshanks, and in order to do that, she tells him that he has to go out and get a job. A job that may distract him from trying to plot on destroying the Skylands. So, well, yeah, Chaos goes there. He applies to I think it was a job advising place, and he gets a job as a mascot on this apparently KFC restaurant knockoff called Lizard Gizzards. And don't worry, these two plots are a little bit clashes because Chaos somehow finds a way to infiltrate the academy, because apparently no one notices that it is him with the Lizard Gizzard costume, and he also uses the sign to hypnotize people. And it gets into that point a little bit underwhelming, I must admit, because I think that the plot of Jetpack and Spyro could have been a little bit stronger if the threat could have been a little bit more, how can I say, bigger. But unfortunately, I will say that, in a way, Jetpack is kind of a boring character. Well, most people tend to be like that in animated series, but not all the time. And Jetpack, although I'm kind of glad that they are aware that Jetpack, while old and seasoned, he has still a lot to grow up. He just snide on Spyro because he saw him like an eager version of himself. But pretty much that's some of the things that I have this episode had. And at the end, they just decided that Jetpack can stay in the house. Oh yeah, and there's also this character named Pop Fizz, who apparently he was living in the basement all this time. And he became the 5th member of the series. I have a question. How do you solve a problem with teamwork when 5 people, apparently that they can get along very well, they're not very coordinated? I don't know. Oh, I know! And another one! This episode always confused me. Because the episode is that our 5 protagonists, they always fail this test on what was it, a simulation of when a fire drake attacks. They always fail because apparently they say that they are not coordinated as a teamwork. So this penguin named Kingpin, it comes and say that, hey, I think you need an imaginator. An imaginator is some kind of creature that you create from your imagination. And they created this banana guy named Psy, who apparently he's just very eager to spout catchphrases, because the original game of Skylanders, they have enough catchphrases in every single character. And he shoots mashed potatoes because whatever. Whatever. And apparently this is their way to promote teamwork? I'm sorry, I'm confused, because apparently the point is that Psy is very naive and all this stuff, and they say that he's great for a Skylander, and that all our characters individually, they're beginning to teach him how to be like them and their moves and all this stuff. But unfortunately, they get worse. They get coordinated in the worst ways. I'm sorry, but I'm getting confused about that, and it doesn't help also that Psy is, I'm gonna say that kind of annoying. It's kind of like, I will say that he is what you get if you put the annoyances of a Nickelodeon character and a Adventure Time character. That's technically what I can say about Psy. They kind of treat it, and honestly, please, I want you to comment this. How in the hell does that promote teamwork? How the hell did that do that? Well, because apparently later they're attacked by the real fire drake. I think it was called like that. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think that it is. I'm not gonna waste you any time with that. And they show, apparently they show Sai about that he has to be himself, and everyone is useful for every kind of situation, and so on and so on. I mean, this is a lesson that could have been done without Sai. Why he was there? And maybe because they wanted, and also during the final battle, all the characters, they began to spout out their catchphrases that you find in the game. And even Spyro, his catchphrase is all fire up. He even sarcastically, he even sarcastically denied almost at the beginning of the episode, and then he uses it. And yeah, everyone uses it. Oh yeah, and there's the B plot in which Chaos tries to remember what he memorized in the first episode, which is the map to the core of light, because he wants to destroy it. He can do it because he can project it himself from his forehead, which has some kind of tattoo in his forehead. But unfortunately, he somehow kind of begins to forget and all this stuff. So Glumshanks tell him that he needs to relax. So he send him to he goes with him to a spa, but unfortunately, all these neat things it stresses Chaos up, and in the end, he just sent him to the DMV, and this is because apparently bringing torture to Glumshanks is his best way for stress relaxation. It's too bad that Chaos doesn't know that the core of light was moved by Master Aeon. Probably this will piss off many Skylanders fans, but I have to be really, really honest with you. I have to say this. Stealth Elf is my least favorite character. I absolutely hate her. Well, not hate her. I just don't like this character. She's my least favorite character because she's bland. She's a bland character. She's nothing interesting. I think that this is the problem when you make a character that is too straight or too good of a personality or too charismatic sometimes. She kind of brings this air of likability or blandness too high to the point that she's not interesting. She's maybe people like her because she's a ninja, and honestly, that's the problem. Ninjas are cool, but when you don't use them well, it can turn out not interesting. Maybe this is the reason also why people are kind of mesmerized about the popularity of Greninja. And in my case for the Skylanders, I'm mostly mesmerized of the popularity of Stealth Elf when she's not interesting. Even her design is not something that I kind of like. And well, they decided to make an episode with her in which because she's kind of like Miss Perfect to everything, she's been chosen to have this talk to the cadets. And she's kind of a little bit nervous about it, so much that she doesn't sleep. She's always trying to plan that she's gonna be how I can be the best and all this stuff in the most blandest way ever. Yeah, and then she kind of began to realize that everybody in the academy, they're having this irrational fear to sheep, which is mostly a trait to this character named Hugo, which is kind of this furry guy with glasses he has the running gag that he's afraid of sheep. Mostly because probably the sheep doesn't like him. But the point is that she kind of began to realize that she's not afraid of the sheep because she didn't sleep. And when she goes to sleep, she finds out that the villain this time is none other than a rogue cadet named Dreamcatcher, which is kind of like this big giant head who has the power to infiltrate on anybody's dreams. So what Dreamcatcher did is that she terrorizes the other people with nightmares with sheep and all this stuff, and that made them very afraid of sheep. And yeah, this technically goes in a very, very uninteresting and boring episode. I honestly didn't like much of this episode. None of the jokes kind of land, and it gets kind of nothing. This kind of proves how not interesting or not fun Stealth Elves is, as much as how hard they try to do. And then we also have the subplot, which is technically a little bit of the better part of the episode, which is none other than Chaos get grounded by his mother, and he tries to get away because he still is eager to destroy the Skylands, but Glumshanks always tries to hold him off by making him clean the room or organize his stuff. And whenever Chaos finished something, Glumshanks is like, "Hey, what's over there?" And he disorganized everything in order to delay him from, let's say, banging the door with a hammer. This is actually the most entertaining part of the episode. Of course, that we also leads to the end. The end is that after everything resolved, Stealth Elf makes her boring yet okay talk to the other cadets about hitting your mark. That you have to focus on your goal and not worry about much of the other things. And of course, she captures Dreamcatcher, who gets expelled from the academy because of her treachery, and Chaos and Glumshanks are accidentally teleported in the middle of the Skylands, so they're captured too. And that actually leads up to the next episode. Spyro, Stealth Elf, and Eruptor, they become guardians of the prison known as Cloudcracker Prison, which is run by the warden known as Snapshot. They're there to escort the villains from the last episode, Dreamcatcher, Chaos, and Glumshanks. They just send them there, and now because that they're rookie Skylanders, they have to at least have jail guard duty for a couple of days there. Little that they know is that they also inside the jail they have there some of the biggest criminals of the Skylands, which is a group named the Doom Raiders, which are composed by you know what, I'm gonna read them here just so I don't forget. This wolf named Wolfgang, this chef, evil chef named Pepperjack, kind of like a voodoo-ish McCoy named Broccoli Guy, and yet he's a broccoli. Oh god, that is evil. This crazy wizard named Chompy Mage, who has this puppet, which kind of reminds me what will happen if Mr. Garrison would become insane. And also there is this idle golden tooth woman called the Golden Queen, which Chaos has a big crush on. And technically the episode is kind of like a prison break episode. And I kind of get amused in this one. Dreamcatcher joins the Doom Raiders, and they all ostracize Chaos because, well, he's a nobody. And Chaos, he's just trying his hardest to impress Golden Queen. Again, because he has a big crush on him, but everyone is like, dude. But unfortunately, the Doom Raider, they decide to use Chaos as a way to I'm gonna say, turn him into the decoy for their escape plan. And also they wanted to take advantage of Spyro, Stealth Elf, and Eruptor by taunting them and then sending them to solitary confinement known as the Hole. Because of course they don't know that when you send everyone to solitary confinement together, they can use all their powers to apparently form some kind of quantum portal. And some kind of the cartoon that they break the logic in a way, but they have their ways to get away from there. In that terms, it is technically the basic Prison Break episode that you get in this family-friendly cartoons. The little bit of important thing that happens is that the Doom Raiders escape, and of course they take Chaos along, mostly because he knows probably the location of the Core of Light, which they're very interested in. So they escape. Stealth Elf, Eruptor, and Spyro, they feel like they failed, but Snapshot tell them that, yeah, you failed, but I hope that makes you feel ready for the things that are coming. So there's some things that I kind of like about this episode. For example, two of the best jokes that I can think of my mind is that in the beginning there's a joke that has to do with the soap. That one gave me a giggle, and at least for Stealth Elf credit, there is a moment in which she reads the rules of in a book, and she out loud makes a orange is the new black joke. But other than that, it's just a typical Prison Break episode. Bad news, everyone! Another Stealth Elf episode. In this one, everyone are camping, and then that's how the episode kind of starts. But the big thing is that the Doom Raiders they decide to live on Chaos Room, and they bully him, they disrespect him, and trying to get on getting on his nerves, Chaos tries to go into his little world by meditating, and he just goes around the forest where the Skylanders are camping. And while trying to get rid of the Skylanders, Stealth Elf jumps into this Aura Chaos head, and when it disappears, because the Doom Raider interrupt his concentration, now we get to see that Stealth Elf is inside, literally, Chaos Head. And technically this is the typical episode about one character who gets the unfortunate situation in which they get inside a character, and they accidentally see his memories, his wishes, and also ludicrous ways to control that character from the inside. Although the episode is not as good as that Invader Sim episode. But the thing that I absolutely hate about this episode is how everyone kind of begins to treat Stealth Elf like she's kind of like the Holy Mary, because when the Skylanders see that they lost her, they kind of begin to cry so much. But I know that losing someone is bad, but they treat her like they kind of lose a part of their. How can I say? Someone that. It's kind of like someone they lose their. You know what? I am struggling for words to this one, because the more I try to talk with it, I'm gonna sound really, really mean-spirited. But to the point that everyone is fighting for her, saying that she is the best friend of everyone, and to the point that even Mr. Aeon wants to shave his beard for her because he kind of failed for her, and of course that there's the running joke of Aeon that he's too proud of his beard. That's a little bit too much, and it's kind of cringy. And this is also the reason why, and I was thinking that, why would anyone be so much into Stealth Elf when she's boring. She's a boring character. But in a character perspective, probably she's kind of like the typical character that she's very smart, she's kind of like a straight A character, and everybody wants to be their friends. Even if that character has almost less than a personality. But the big thing about this episode mostly is that it's just is that Stealth Elf is inside Chaos, and the Doom Raider are bullying her, and because Stealth Elf doesn't want to stay any minute with Chaos, she kind of takes advantage of that, even to the point that there is kind of like a, I'll say a little bit of an amusing moment where she controls Chaos like he's a freaking video game. Oh yeah, and the solution is a freaking eject button. What? Have anyone thought that Eruptor kind of looks a little bit like Anger from Inside Out? Okay, that's just me. And speaking of anger, anger mismanagement. After 7 episodes, they finally decided to give an episode to Eruptor, which he's not my favorite, but he's okay. This episode, they actually tried to flesh out some personality on Eruptor, that he is always hot-headed. Get it? Because he's a magma man. And in this one, we got that he's always nitpicky, always angry about even the most little things. Like he's complaining about why gazpachos are cold. For those who doesn't know, gazpacho is cold soup, and this kind of ruins the mission of the Skylands to apprehend Pepperjack, who is doing something evil in the Skylands. So because of that, then Aeon suggests he suggests Eruptor to go to some anger management therapy led by Hugo. And after many days of therapy, he finally becomes this calm demeanor guy. And well, because of the therapy, he has to also, how can I say, avoid being angry, avoid being very nitpicky, but worst of all, he has to avoid spicy food, which I don't know how spicy food it has to do with anger management. Maybe because he's a magma guy, but either way, the bad thing about this is that it will not let him participate in one of the Skylands events that is happening, which is chili dog competition, in which they get free chili, and they're delicious or not. I'm up to that. I actually love chili, but unfortunately, Pepperjack alongside Chaos and Glumshanks, he makes this chili that gives everyone stomach aches. And everyone has his very diarrheic stomach ache. Luckily without farts and poop jokes, because that will be nasty. He just used them so they're not able to prevent Pepperjack to blow up the academy. And luckily Eruptor didn't eat the chilies because he was on his therapy. But I wish they could push a little bit more on that anger thing, because this calm demeanor was fixed so easily, very, very easily. Although on hindsight, probably I can find it very funny because he's so calm that watching all his fellow Skylands and friends just with their stomachs, they're like, ugh. And he's like, yeah, but you guys told me that I have to become very calm. I have to be calm and chill out and all this stuff. You have to be angry, which is a good lesson that Ian says, that anger is that sometimes anger is good, but you have to keep it under control sometimes. There's a balance in there. Although the way that it got solved is just with Pop Fizz saying that, hey, I've been eating your cereal. You what? Yeah, that's technically how everything gets solved. And that lets Eruptor finally comes into this sensor to kick out Pepperjack, Chaos, and Glumshanks out of the academy. And he has regenerative powers apparently, because he eats the dynamite and he and when it explodes, he's into pieces. But now he reforms like he's the T-1000. That's technically a very simple episode, but it gave me a big smile, which is better than what Stealth Elf can give me. So kudos to that. I want to mention that Pop Fizz is actually one of my favorite characters in the series, and probably one of the most hilarious of them all. And one of the big reasons why he is one of my favorites is none other than he is voiced by a great voice actor, which is none other than Bobcat Goldthwait. If you don't know Bobcat Goldthwait, he has this kind of great voice, kind of unique. For all the nostalgic people or all the 80s people, he is better known as Zed from Police Academy. He was I think he was the villain in Police Academy 2, but then he becomes a cop in Police Academy 3 and so on. But well, it was about time that we get an episode revolving Pop Fizz. And honestly, this is one of my favorite episodes this season. I absolutely really like this episode because this one is the few episodes that is energetic and it really helps out that Pop Fizz is the center of the tension of this one. And this episode is that there is this music festival and well they have their eyes open because the musical of all the Doom Raiders, which is Wolfgang, he's gonna be there, and they all know that he has this bone harp that he uses to hypnotize people into mindless zombies. And we also learned that Pop Fizz and Wolfgang has a history between them. They were duos. They were playing music, but unfortunately Wolfgang got a little bit too eager. He just wants the glory all by himself. Well, it doesn't help that the name of the duo gang was kind of like Pop Fizz and something like that. I kind of forgot the name. And because Wolfgang decided to use sound waves for evil and hypnotizing, Pop Fizz thought that this is not the way to achieve fame. He disbanded and decided to become a Skylander, which is interesting. I actually really like that there is a humble side and a noble side of for a character who is really bonkers and that he really loves to make potions and all this stuff. But the episode always needed some kind of plot or trouble. And this one is that, well, Pop Fizz is trying to make a potion to prevent the Skylanders to be hypnotized by Wolfgang's sound waves. Unfortunately, while testing one of them, he just lost some of his memories, and his memory reverted back to the time that he was a musician. So they had to go along without him, but also trying to prevent him to cross paths with Wolf again, because again, he thinks that he's still on the band. And well, the episode honestly has kind of like three things happening. First is the Pop Fizz and Wolfgang thing, which I already mentioned. The second thing is that is the Skylanders trying to apprehend Wolfgang, and I think it's actually there's two of them. But the third thing the thing that happens that is probably one of my favorite parts of this episode is that because Spyro didn't get the tickets to get inside the musical festival, he couldn't enter the music festival. He always stopped by this brute Skylander known as Kaboom. Oh, and he's so buff that he always speaks with the Austrian accent, like Arnold Schwarzenegger talking like this, yeah. And so technically it becomes a little bit of a mini chase between Spyro and Kaboom. But not only Spyro is the one being chased by Kaboom, he's also being chased, Kaboom also chased Chaos, who is also not let inside the musical festival. So, from the things that I told you, you've seen many cartoons. You know where it's going. I mean, first Wolfgang and Pop Fizz, they meet each other. He decides to take advantage of Pop Fizz's amnesia, and when Pop Fizz finally realizes that Wolfgang is doing evil stuff, he finally snaps out, and we get this very cool action scene. I'm not gonna reveal everything, because this is an episode that I absolutely want you to see, because it's so energetic and so awesome that I can help to say that probably this is my favorite season 1 episode of Skylanders Academy. Oh, but I do have to mention that I really love that during the music festival, 3 times there's this running gag of and warning people that they should not eat a specific food because apparently, I don't know, they might be rotten or something that makes them sick. But every time he finished that warning, we see Hugo just getting sick and then barf because apparently, well, it's too late for him. What's worse than a Stealth Elf episode? I'll tell you what's worse than a Stealth Elf episode. How about a mean-spirited episode? Of all the episodes of Skylanders Academy that came out from this point, this one I absolutely hate. I absolutely hate this episode. Beard Science. Well, you know how I told you that Master Eon is very proud of his beard. So much that he can do anything with his beard. He can use it as the recognizable password to enter the relic room. He can even stretch it out to defeat bad guys. Because apparently he says that his beard is kind of like his proof of his hard work in constructing the academy and all that stuff, and kind of became one for itself. And he's very proud of that. Well, they decided to make an episode where Chaos, being tired of being ignored, rejected, and bullied because he's bald, he decided to cast a spell in order to make his hair grow. But instead of making his hair grow, apparently he transferred Aeon's beard to his head, making him look like kind of like having this Don King like hairstyle. And well, everyone begins to love, appreciate, and adore Chaos, becoming kind of like the most popular guy in the world. Master Eon, in the other side, he is treated invisible. He's treated like they don't know him. And Master Eon kind of tries his best to say, "Hey, it's me, Eon." While everyone is, let's just focus on trying to see how to disarm this detonating bomb or something like that. I hated this episode mostly because how they treated Eon. I mean, I know that it could be a cartoon that nobody can recognize you even for the smallest things. I mean, if Ash Ketchum can't recognize Team Rocket in some of the lamest costumes they have, why not in Skylanders Academy? But the way they treat him is often really mean-spirited because he's always seen, somehow they see him more like a senile guy instead of someone who wants to help. And I mean, Skylanders is about helping everyone, and for a series that we have to root for a hero, they kind of like ignoring someone that it needs. They just see him like some crazy guy, and I kind of despise that. I despise also saying that well, we have things that makes us makes a character unique. And like, yeah, I know the beard kind of makes Aeon unique, but it's not all of it. Sometimes unique thing doesn't just make you. It's also the kind of person that you are. It's not something physical, let's say. And honestly, I also don't like when the uniqueness is shown by physicality. This is not honest. This is technically analytical and in a way disgusting and personally. Well, also, let's say that we have Kale kind of treated like a prima donna, and he uses his newfound hair mostly to woo the Golden Queen, which again he has a crush on. And boy, that it reaches to, they cross paths and Eon gets the beard, and when Eon finally gets the beard, everyone finally is like, yeah, where have you been? And the whole episode is just dragging on with people saying something is missing, something is missing. It's like that they only know Aeon for his beard. Okay, I know, it's the joke. That's the joke. But this is a joke that could have been pulled at least for 11 minutes, not for a 20 minutes episode, because sometimes or it gets all too fast or it gets mean-spirited at hell. So sorry, but Beard Science is probably one of the worst episodes of the series. There's this movie called Minority Report. I think this one stars Tom Hanks. That's what I remember. But yeah, the movie, the Minority Report movie. Technically, the basic of this movie is that they make this technology, and they have these children, somehow like that. And what they do is that they manage to find ways to predict the future, and they go to arrest people before they commit their crimes. Yep, that's technically the biggest inspiration for this episode, the Skylands are falling, in which Glumshanks gives Pop Fizz some kind of lens that Chaos decides to get rid of, a lens that you could use it to see in the future. But of course, Chaos wanted to use it to know if he's gonna have a chance with Golden Queen instead of, destroy the Skylands. Well, Glumshanks give it to Pop Fizz, kind of like having this garage sale thing, and Pop Fizz uses to create this telescope, which he calls Evil Scope, in order to see the future and prevent the villains to commit crimes. So the Skylanders, they just go there to prevent them from preventing him to commit future crimes. So everything is fine and dandy. They even get time to do some leisure. Spyro, because being the eager hero that he wants to be, he just goes to apprehend the more villains. And well, Eruptor gives out a big elaborate question. Where did the evil go? Well, let's say that the evil gets condensed in thin air out of nowhere and creates this somehow black swirly ball that later, that the more evil it condenses, that it gets bigger and bigger, and its storm, it could bring the destruction of the Skylands. That's how ridiculous it is. But you know what? I can accept that ridiculousness, because that kind of makes you beg the question on that movie of Minority Report. So, and what I like about this episode is that Spyro kind of becomes the center of the story. He even is the one who tries to solve the solution and all that. And because, yeah, isn't that what we are in here for? We're here for Spyro. We don't care for the other Skylanders. Honestly, I think that's the genius of Activision or Blizzard or whatever who is controlling Spyro, that they know that we love Spyro, and they just want to use Spyro as a bait. And they use him, of course. In this episode, they use him brilliantly. While everyone is kind of like trying to find a solution how to destroy this ball of storms. And although I kind of love that Chaos is very happy to see the destruction of the world, even I like the conversation in which he has with Glumshanks. Glumshanks is like, hey, if the world is destroyed, that means that you're gonna be destroyed too. Yeah, but the Skylands will be destroyed. It's win-win. Kind of like he doesn't give a damn on what is gonna happen to him. This is kind of funny, and I also love the bucket list that Glumshanks has. He only has 2 things in his bucket list, which is fly a kite, and tell Chaos a piece of his mind. But still, the solution comes up like like that. Spyro is the one who solves the solution. We finally realize that we need evil sometimes, because sometimes, well, necessary evils are kind of makes the balance of the world of light and darkness, as much as ridiculous as there is. But of course, the explosion that Spyro give out, he brings out Crash Bandicoot? Yep, Crash Bandicoot. The candidate mascot for PlayStation, they decided to bring them to the Skylanders. For the record, I am not a fan of Crash Bandicoot. I'm sorry, I know that many people love him. Many love Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot is kind of as popular as Spyro. Spyro, I mean. But I wasn't into it. Sorry. I only play Crash Bandicoot Warp. Good game, I admit it. But I didn't like it that it was kind of too easy for me. But I can understand why people absolutely love this character. But this episode kind of proves that maybe that love is a little bit out of control. And this is another one that he became one of my least favorite characters. No, not characters. My least favorite episode of the series. And I can see what... I think I saw people that they're very disappointed on the portrayal of Crash Bandicoot in this one. And I understand him, because many people... What made Crash Bandicoot unique, some mascot, is that he was crazy. He had this personality that... Not exactly. He was kind of crazy. It's kind of like a Looney Tunes character without a voice and anything, but he does crazy stunts. I can see the appeal of Crash Bandicoot. But apparently in Skylanders Academy, they kind of make him kind of like this Crocodile Dundee style personality with an Australian accent and spouting extreme all the stuff, and it really tried to push it, and it didn't felt like the character that we just wanted to see. But come to think of it, Spyro is this narcissistic jerk. So what do they know? But unfortunately, that made Crash Bandicoot kind of like a more pushier character than Spyro himself. And the problem with this episode is that how much they want to kiss his feet. It's like someone decided that, hey, you have Crash Bandicoot, let's adore him like he's a god. And they treat him like he's the coolest thing ever. Coolest thing ever. I've seen Steve Irwin doing cooler stuff than him. I've seen Bruce Willis done cooler things than him. And he didn't prove too much on how cool he is. He just there's his usual stuff that there is. He also gives exposition that he's from Neocortex. He has to fight Neocortex and the main villain and all these stuff. But not much is that. Man, I'm just nitpicking too much when I haven't even told you about the episode. So, anyway, what's Crash Bandicoot is doing there? Well, remember the thing that Spyro destroyed from last episode? Well, apparently somehow it brings him to it opened a portal somehow that it dragged Crash into the Skylands, and well, because somehow Master Eon doesn't have the power enough to create a portal to bring him back home. He needs a dark relic to combine light and darkness into his magic and create the portal in order to send Crash back home. And so the only possibility to find one of those dark relics is on a forest where it lessens the powers of their main cast, except for Crash, because well, Crash is not from this world. And the whole episode, it has that Spyro has apparently grown to have a man crush on him. And this the part that made me groan. The whole episode is just Spyro saying, "Oh, he's cool, he's awesome," and the look of his eyes, I just feel like it kind of makes it look like Spyro just wants to hug, kiss, and make up with Crash. Oh, and by the way, this is the second time that there was a Spyro Crash crossover. The other one is this lame Game Boy Advance episode. And this episode, somehow it managed to be even lamer. Oh yeah, and we also have the B plot in which Chaos finds out that his mother is using this dark magic book in order to do something, and he thinks that he has tremendous powers. But because the book cannot be opened, he tries to get some help from Chompy Mage, who is apparently doing stuff in the forest. And well, Chompy Mage captures Spyro because he was so into Crash that he became reckless, and then he tries to make a deal with Chaos with the book, but unfortunately also Chaos powers became powerful. He got big powers because he was in contact with the book. And this is technically, it kind of irked me that they missed the chance to make us a decent Spyro Crash teamwork episode, because Spyro doesn't do anything heroic or teamworky with Crash. You missed that chance! But of course, yeah, what happened is that they get the book, they send Crash home, and the episode ends with Am falling ill because apparently the book has too much darkness for his own good. And yeah, Chaos Mother, he scolds him, and Chompy Mage tells the other Doom Raiders about this book. But as much as things happen, it's still on our head saying that this is probably one of the lamest Crash Bandicoot animated version that we have ever seen. Probably, I think they should have go on with that pilot that I have seen on the internet. Season 1 finale. What was it? Assault on Skylanders Academy. It takes off right after the last episode because, well, Master Aeon is ill because he used too much darkness on his powers to send Crash home, and now he is feeling the effects of too much darkness into him, from feeling very sick and weak to little by little get consumed by darkness. But so he tells the Skylanders that in order to save him, they have to go to a place called the Citadel, where the core of light is hidden, so they can take a little bit of light source in order for him to drink it and get the light that he lost. And then the episode, it divides in two things. It's not usually when, even for a season finale, you divide things in two things. I mean, usually finales are technically something epic that is happening, or an epic battle, or something big that is happening, but later we're gonna see that, yep, here you go, this is a cliffhanger. This one does these things. So, for a finale, it felt like half they do it right and half they do it wrong. Because, first of all, what they do wrong is that they divided the parties. The villain party and our main character party. The main characters, they just have to go into this adventure, into the gates to go to the Citadel. They get teleported to the main entrance. They go past 3 obstacles. Let's say one is the first one is a riddle telling them what they most fear. The second one is this bearded guy telling them a riddle about the answer is darkness. And the third one is a leap of faith. And then that's it. They get the light source and nothing much happened, at least with them. the most important thing that happens in the episode. Sorry about that. And there's a door over there. That's sounding. It's a garage door. Sorry about that. But the most important thing that happens in the episode is that the Skylanders are gone. They find out that the Aeon is vulnerable, and the book the book of dark magic is there. So the Doom Raider, they decide to infiltrate the academy and take the book. Also, Chaos Mom, because she wants the book also, and she goes there even though she prohibits Chaos on accompanying her. And Chaos being Chaos, he disobeys her and directs Glumshanks with it. And then it turns into a huge battle between actually most of the villains trying to get that book. Well, for a while they kind of join forces for a while. Master Aeon is kind of in the middle of it, but the most important part actually happens in technically almost at the end of the episode, in which it kind of becomes very clear that Cassandra, Chaos Mom, she's very concerned about that book. She doesn't want to let Chaos know all about it, about why he cannot harness the power or something like that. There's something more sinister into it, but unfortunately, this episode actually brings out a little bit of three-dimensionality to Chaos. Chaos wants to be approved by everyone, even his mother, but because for some reason that is not yet explained, Cassandra kind of not trust him. So Chaos makes the hurtful but yet understandably decision to join the Doom Raiders to get her alongside with the book. But in the meantime, of course, everyone gets. Let's say that the solution is that everyone gets kicked out, but Cassandra is so hurt by his son's betrayal that she exiles him from the house. So Chaos, he only has he joins the Doom Raiders, who they have plans with him. And well, the Skylanders, they just get there. They miss the party. They cure Master Aeon, and Master Aeon, he gives the book to Cassandra, revealing that that she's using the book to hold something much more sinister amidst. Again, given the typical cliffhanger of season 1. But honestly, I will say that again, this fight and the dilemma of Chaos is technically the best part of the episode. Yeah, he is a villain. He wants to be the stereotypical villain. He wants to destroy the Skyland. He's a jerk. But sometimes it kind of shows that even the most evil of jerks can also have some human-like qualities that it kind of help us. It kind of makes us feel a little bit of a pity on them. Of course, that sometimes making evil things is not an excuse to be a very likable character. Although Chaos kind of makes it kind of both as a fun villain or a pitiful character. I'm gonna say that Season 1 of Skylanders Academy was decent enough to attract my attention, but again, my biggest reason to technically support the series is because of Spyro. I'm a big supporter of Spyro, and I was kind of waiting for at least a sign of something to appear from Spyro that is something that I really, really love, and something that I wish many people will notice. That, at least I'll get it on Season 2, for the most part. Well, for a part. But as an introduction, it's decent. The best way I can describe the series of Skylanders Academy is kind of like this what was it? How can I say? Family-friendly Nickelodeon show, and it feels like a Nickelodeon show. some jokes were good, some jokes are bad, some jokes they kind of they go a little bit too far on making pop culture references. I mean, although they kind of give a little bit of a snide into it. I mean, one of my favorite jokes, again in the musical episode, is that Pop Fizz, they kind of begin to name this kind of like knockoff of singer's name, but then he just say that, and there's also these kind of characters, these other names that are technically protected by public domain copyright things, and I kind of get a chuckle of that joke because it shows that the show is technically a little bit self-aware of it. But in the meantime, I gotta say that it got me long enough to at least be interested for season 2, which I will talk about it on the next part.